How do you know if your vehicle is capable of making it all the way to South America? The answer to that question is that you don't. You never will until you try it. But we have a new-to-us truck with a brand new camper on its back, and we leave for Mexico to start the Pan American in just a few weeks. There are bound to be some bugs, and we need to find them quickly. It's shakedown time, baby! In today's video, we're taking you on our first real trip in our new pop-up camper. We're headed to southern Utah to test out the truck in the dirt, and of course, we'll get out for an adventure. Wow. Oh. Yeah.
Wow.
All right, so today we are giving our new truck and camper a shakeout trip. So we bought this truck a few months ago and we've been working on it and driving it around a lot. But just in the last couple weeks, we added a camper to it. And so far it's been awesome, but we have been staying at friends' houses mostly. So plugged in, water right there, spending a lot of time in their homes. So this is our first real trip out with no lifeline, but test it out in the wild. It has been freezing in most of the places we have been. And when I say freezing, I mean below 0 Fahrenheit. The other day we were over at Overland Global saying hello to Alan and Francie before our big trip, and it was -20 overnight. So we want to give this truck a shakedown trip, but -20 really isn't what the Pan American Highway is going to be for most of it, at least hopefully. So we were hoping to get a little bit more of real world conditions that we'll encounter in, say northern Mexico or potentially down in Colombia, Argentina, and Chile. So we are headed to the desert in southern Utah to try to find some red dirt, try to find some ancient ruins, just hang out in the desert for a little bit and test the truck out. Woo! We drove well into the night, something that we are not planning to do once we're south of the border. But the days are short and we've got good lights. So while we prefer to see the place we're going to sleep for the night in the light of day, there is a sweet surprise to waking up and getting to uncover the place you wandered to in the dark. We followed some long dirt roads on BLM land and set up camp. In the morning, we were thrilled by the scene outside our door. Miles of canyon country and not another soul in sight. The reason we wanted to head to this part of Utah was twofold. First, we needed to get out of the snow and cold. And second, we wanted to check out some ancient ruins. We'd been to Mesa Verde and some other areas where Ancient Puebloans, also known as Anasazi, lived, but those are well-known sites with a lot of visitors.
Recently, we learned that there are thousands of ruins that are not heavily publicized that you can have a much more intimate experience with if you're willing to work for it.
I just don't want wet feet.
We did some running and a lot of brisk walking. The trail in this area isn't marked and there are offshoots all over the place. So route finding can be a challenge. But that's part of the experience here. And you never know what you might find. There are new dwellings and artifacts being found all the time.
Ow. Sharp little things.
It wasn't long before we approached the first dwelling. We crossed a small wash and then we were both hit with a feeling of intense wonder. A feeling that we were among those who came before us. Setting foot in the homes where ancient North Americans lived was special. Archaeologists agree that these sites were occupied between 800 and 2,000 years ago, millennia before this was BLM land, and centuries before even the United States were founded. This was before Columbus, by hundreds of years. What archaeologists are not quite in agreement on is what happened to these people. Where did they go? Why did they leave? The dwellings were incredible, but what really captured Heather and I was something much smaller. The ground around the dwellings was littered with pieces of pottery.
Wow. Yeah, I just wasn't expecting to just find so much of it.
Yeah.
Like, I was expecting to be like, oh, I found one little piece of pottery and that's really cool. But it's
Right.
like, no, there's one here.
Yeah.
There's one
It's everywhere.
here. There's one here. Just all over.
Yeah.
It's pretty neat.
Touching these potsherds was like shaking hands with a 2,000-year-old artist.
That's amazing. They're all so different. Like this one's such a darker material.
Wow.
Oh wow.
Man.
Yeah, that style it's almost like a basket weave.
Yeah.
Proper protocol for finding potsherds is to examine them and then put them back where you found them. We learned later that even placing them with other artifacts is a no-no. Now you know. We also learned that a piece of pottery is known as a sherd, with an E in it. A sherd is a type of shard. Now you know that too. We were in awe of this landscape and the connection we felt here. Bruce was happy to join along as well, but on occasion there were nasty burrs that slowed his progress. So we ended up carrying him through some of the thicker brush.
He doesn't really look very stressed, does he?
No.
My shadow is hilarious.
We checked out a few more dwellings and then began the trek home.
The rest of the way out will be easy, she said. Let's go check out this final one, she said.
We eventually got back to camp just as the sun was starting to set.
Yeah.
That night we slept well in our warm, dry, and cozy home on wheels. So unfortunately, we found a small leak under the truck. Alan called us the other day and said that there's a puddle of coolant under where we were parked at his place. We checked it out, and of course, there's a small coolant leak under the truck. So thankfully, it seems to be a pretty easy place to repair. It's just a hose on the very bottom of the engine, kind of like the outflow, I guess, under the radiator, I think. So I've already got the part ordered, so we just need to make sure that we check the coolant level and top it up before we get really on the road here. I imagine it has to do with being at negative 20 degrees and then up to almost 50 or 40 something degrees here. I imagine that when it gets really cold and hot, it kind of messes with those seals. So hopefully that's the only thing, and we can get it repaired in a few days, and we'll just keep an eye on it until then. There's the offending leak. I put a little bit of sealant tape on it and then covered that in duct tape to hopefully hold it in place. Judging by the small wet spot on the ground, it doesn't seem to be working, but it's probably better than nothing, maybe, and we'll just keep an eye on it. Let's see how much it's going to take before it gets up. See, we're on a little bit of a slant. That's probably good. See at the min, above the min, below the max. Keep an eye on it. After topping up on coolant and crossing our fingers that the leak didn't worsen, we broke camp and headed out. We drove on some moderate trails and dirt roads, getting to know how the truck handled off-road. This is the trailhead. Now we are going to go for a little trail run. Final site we're going to explore here before we get on the road again.
Hopefully we'll find some more ruins and explore a little bit and just get out in the sun. It's a magical burning orb in the sky that we've not been seeing enough of lately, so it just feels amazing to be out here.
Bruce knows the way. Okay.
It is a beautiful sunny day, probably in the mid 40s, maybe nearing 50, but we're down in this canyon, mostly in the shade, and it's probably 10 degrees colder down here. It's pretty chilly, but as long as we keep moving, we're warm. So, gonna keep running. Bye.
We just hit a mile, exactly, and here is the first spot. Wow. It's big. Bruce, you're gonna have to stay about here.
Bruce, stay, good boy. Wow. Just a huge mushroom rock that they built under. I think they might have been a little shorter than you.
Likely.
Trail is a loose term out here. Definitely suggest downloading the maps and reassessing frequently, because we've found ourselves off trail, or what felt like off trail but actually was on trail many times. Seems like things get washed out and not many people come here, so there's not much to follow. But can't really get lost because we're in this canyon, and if we really didn't know where we were, we could just follow this washout.
Along the trail were a handful of ruins, of varying sizes and levels of preservation. We planned only to see maybe 2 of them, but knowing another one could be just around the corner kept pushing us further. This is neat.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
I wonder how far out it went.
Yeah.
This seems like an interior wall that
Yeah, totally.
has remained, but then there's this big one that goes out pretty far.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, had to at least come out to here.
Yeah.
And it looks like there's another kind of wall here. Maybe right here is the
front wall?
the front, I mean, or at least the next wall. Who knows, because could have gone all the way down to there. Like, it almost seems like there's some other rocks stacked.
Is there a door to this on that side?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Well, there's a... It's a door. You'd have to crawl through down here. Who knows?
They definitely built small entryways, which is probably the hardest part of the build, is to make a stable opening.
Also, if you're the one who's hauling the wood, you probably want to keep the doors pretty small to keep the warmth in as best you can in the winter.
They had fires inside them, you think?
I think so, seemingly.
Not a terrible view.
No. Stay. I know. I looked back at the dog and almost fell off. Continue on this.
I don't know.
You don't have to.
That's the worst spot right there.
Okay.
Little shelves. Got something in there.
Yeah.
Alright, going down from here. is so grippy though, it's crazy.
Yeah. He's right there. He's followed us along like the bottom of the canyon. So do you want to go farther?
Yeah.
I mean, we're here, right?
Yeah. Been going about an hour.
So if we're going an hour farther out, then it'll be a 4-hour trip total.
Do we feel good about the timing for driving home? What's home?
Home.
Driving home? Driving wherever home is tonight?
I think so. Looks like it'll go. Yeah. Let me know if you want a spot.
Getting back down might be.
I think it's a butt slide down. The fourth site was the hardest to find and to reach, with a few scrambles to get to it. But boy, was it worth it.
Wow.
Oh. Yeah.
Wow. I think that was maybe a chimney,
Yeah.
right?
Could be.
I don't know.
It'd be weird with the wood right there, but
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking. Wow, it's really cool the way that they created what I'm guessing was a roof.
yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
wicker basket style almost. Like
This is a true kiva, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
It looks like the size of one.
So the kiva was ceremonial, I believe.
Like
It's like they would come here to, yeah.
And the pictures that I've seen, they oftentimes had like an inner bench that they sat around. And maybe this was the fire.
Yeah. Wow.
Look at the way the water would run
Yeah.
around this and then bowl
Yeah.
out. That's so cool.
Getting to see so many ancient dwellings in this relatively undisturbed state somehow felt very different from the excavated and cordoned off dwellings in national parks. While there were no interpretive signs to educate us, it allowed the space for our imaginations to place those people back in this land and see what it might have looked like in its prime. Yeah, sun is pretty much set in the canyon, so
Probably our cue to
skedaddle.
start moving.
Yeah.
We should get out much faster than it.
Yeah, we should. You want to go first? Or you want me to go
I
first?
want you to go first. In case you need to catch me.
Catch me! If this tree goes,
I'm here forever.
you live here. You're officially Puebloan. Bruce is very concerned about you.
Always.
Excuse me. Our return jog back to the truck was mostly quiet, both of us in awe of what we had just experienced.
It's chilly in here.
Yeah, it is.
We are at 7 miles.
Nice. Should be at the end here soon. There she is. privilege we have of exploring places like this is not lost on us. These amazing spots on public land are fragile and in need of protection. As we make our final preparations for leaving this country for a year or more on our Pan-American journey, our heart aches seeing the structures that protect places like this being torn down in our home country. While our channel is not a political one, we feel the urge to say that if we want spots like this to exist for future generations, they need support, funding, and most importantly, rangers. If you feel the same way, make your voice heard.
All right, we're back from our hike and on the road just before dark. A later start than we were planning, but that's how we tend to do things. So not surprised by that. But it was worth it. We had an awesome hike and saw so many cool ruins. And now we're on our way back to Durango after a really great shakeout trip with a truck. Learned a couple things about the vehicle that just needs some tweaking, nothing major, but glad to have kind of sorted that out while we're still in the States and close to resources. But we are officially very out of water. Used every last drop for hiking today. And yeah, time to go get some more water and groceries and stop at an auto parts store. It's not that major. And yeah, then we're gonna go back to Utah, hang out with some friends and see my family, and then it'll be time to go international in a couple weeks. So getting stoked. Things are looking really good. We're really enjoying our new home. Bruce seems to be enjoying it as well.
If you are even 1% as stoked as we are for our trip to South America, then you are really stoked. To show that stoke, consider hitting that subscribe button or checking us out on Instagram or Patreon. There are so many more adventures to come. Thanks for joining us on this Shakedown trip, and we'll see you soon.